Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Tzuzamen.
Shalom,
Hi,
Tzili.
Tzipi.
Hi. And we are going to have a fantastic conversation today. I'm going to say that she contributed so much, as far as I'm concerned, and you to the country. And therefore, we really were very delighted to have her.
Nava Sonnenschein.
Right.
Hi.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
Nava is one of the 4 founders family of Neve Shalom,
which is
the only village in Israel that basically was built for Israelis and Palestinians equally.
Right, Israeli Palestinians.
Israeli Palestinians. It's in Israel on the way to Jerusalem. Nava, can you tell us a little bit? Hi, first of all, Can you tell us a little bit about the beginning and the story of this
village
settlement? Yeah,
it's not a settlement; it's a village.
It was a settlement.
It is not.
It was not, and it was not.
No, because we have a negative attitude towards the word settlement.
That's
but
right.
When you settle,
the pioneers.
In the beginning, the pioneers. When I was in the army, we were settlers.
Right.
Yes, it's the same, but it was good. Yeah.
So
we came there in '79, and the idea, the place was founded by Father Bruno Hussar, who thought about a village for people from the 3 monotheistic religions. But people who came, the first families, the 4 of them, 1 Arab and 3 Jewish families, came before we were upset about the life situation and the inequality between Jews and Palestinians, and we wanted to build something different.
Can you just specify that you're talking about Israeli Arabs who now call themselves Palestinians, and don't call themselves
Palestinian citizens of Israel, yes.
That's right, which is different. It's only in the last, 5 years. They used to be called Israeli Arabs. Those the Arabs who were in Israel in 48.
By the Jews, but by themselves, they call it before Palestinian citizens of Israel.
Okay. So they actually supposed to have full rights as citizens.
We wanted to create a community where we will be equals. And it was very unique at that time. And until today, there is no place like that in Israel after 43 years, unfortunately.
And did you try to persuade other settlements to become one?
I really refuse to call it settlement, but
I'm sorry. You're right.
We are a village community, but we are not a settlement.
Yes. So were any attempts to have more communities like that?
There were some attempts to do in the Galilee, but they didn't get land. Our land was given by Latrun Monastery, and it's a private land.
Oh, okay.
And we paid for that and to the community. And I think this is the reason, because in Israel, they usually build new Jewish towns, villages, kibbutzim, but not developing new Arab towns, and it's a huge issue. Part of Neve Shalom, Wahat al-Salam, which is the Oasis of Peace, the name in English. We created several educational institutions, and one of them is a School for Peace, which I established there. And one of the courses that we do is for planners, because planners are people who deal with land, and land issue is one of the major issues of the conflict, and they become active. We train them to become active to reach more peace between Jews and Palestinian citizens of Israel.
But Nava, the location, the Palestinians weren't against settling in Israel, on Israeli land, or because it was a private land by Latrun monastery, they agreed?
No, we are inside Israel. We never thought to be a settlement. Our message is that both people are living on this piece of land, and we have to find a way how to live together in peace and in equality.
So the government supports you? Like the education, your school is supported like every school in Israel?
We have in the village, we have a primary school, which was the first bilingual, bicultural school in Israel, where not only for our kids, but also for kids elsewhere in the surrounding communities. And this school is today supported partially by the government. The School for Peace is not supported by.
Oh, really?
It's not a school from the educational system.
Ah.
But Nava, how many families you have today?
We are about 120 families, and it's growing rapidly. The second generation are coming to live there.
Great.
And building their homes, and it's really we feel very good about it. And also other people, there is a waiting list of many people who want to come to live.
There is a condition, it's conditioned by willing to accept.
People have to accept the ideology that we want to live in peace and equality between us, and believe that there should be a change in our society towards.
So your emphasis is about equality and change within Israel between Jews and Arabs, or you include also, let's say, Palestinians and against occupation and, you know, with the West Bank?
The School for Peace worked with about 75,000 participants, half of them Jews, half of them Palestinians. Since 93, the Oslo Accord, we worked also with Palestinian NGOs in Palestine, in the occupied territories. So we have worked with also Palestinian NGOs, peace NGOs. So we had workshops and courses for people coming from there too. But always we include the three groups in when we do such encounters or workshops, we work with the Palestinians from within Israel, Israeli Jews and Palestinians from Palestine.
But Nava, I want to go back to the village first before we get to the school, because the school is a system that you develop to handle certain situation, but in the village you really live the everyday life. How old are the first babies from the village?
42, 43.
And they all fluent both in Hebrew and Arabic, right?
Yeah.
Where do they go if they don't stay home? Where do they go all over, and how do they find themselves part of the society in Israel? Because they're very different in attitude.
That's true. Actually, what happened to them is that even if they don't come back to live in the community, they are considered in places where they work or live people who are more open to include also Arab workers. My son is working in a high-tech company, so always if there are new Arab people who come to work there, they ask him to
take care of them.
to welcome them and work with them. And so they take it to other situations in life because it's a very strong belief system, and it goes with them wherever they go.
And what happened when they finish high school and the Israeli kids go to the army? What happened to the Arabs?
The law is that Jewish kids has to go. In Neve Shalom, it's Wahat al-Salam, it's really an issue. The Arab kids, the Palestinian kids are not happy with that. Also, many of the young Jewish kids are not happy, try not to go to be combat soldiers in the occupied territories. Some of them, there is one who refused to go because of the occupation. There are others who refuse in a more subtle ways, but it's an issue, and there are many discussions about this issue. How come you grow up together all life and then there is time to go to the army? And it's not an easy issue for
so what kind of discussions you have when, if you look at reality, it's a privilege not to have an army in Israel. It's almost impossible not to have an army.
Yeah, not all people are pacifist or think that there should not be.
What they get in their school, in their education.
What they say that army should protect Israel, not serve as a police in the occupied territories, and they make the life.
I know that I'm pushing it and playing the devil, but they grew up in a country when there were a lot of Palestinians who were radicalized and committed a terror attack in Israel, like the suicide bombers. And the question, I'm really going to the roots of it because, we all have children and they ask us questions. So what do you answer?
As I said, it's not that people think that Israel shouldn't have the right to protect itself, but there is a big difference between protecting and keeping on the occupation, military occupation. And these people resent, they don't accept this way of behavior. We think we should live in peace with our neighbors, even the Palestinians. Let them have their own state, let them have reasonable life.
But listen, before we go on with the Palestinian, we don't live in peace within ourselves, Jews. I mean, the country is so divided. We don't accept each other. Not only Haredim and secular, but it's all over the place. There are so many layers now of not accepting each other. So we are still a young country in a way, and we didn't even solve the conflict between the Jews. And now it's really critical. It's a critical point.
Also in United States, there is a big split, but
there is a kind of, here there is separation between faith and religion, and of course, and then we have so many terrible.
But we in Neve Shalom chose one major conflict, which is we think impact our life. People lose their lives because they had to fight wars that could be prevented if we had a different perspective, a different way of looking at it. And this is what we trying to do, to bring together two groups that are really in conflict, the Jews and the Palestinians, and to have dialogue about those issues.
That's
Most
wonderful.
people think about the other. many things, but they never sit in a room and talk with each other.
Yes, but you see, but just one, the last one now, just, but you know, you look around and you are, for many years now, you know, trying to keep and hold on to this, you know, we are trying to stick to this conflict. We are trying to, but if you look now, it's like not an issue anymore in Israel. And I don't speak about Israeli Arabs. Fortunately, with the new government, there is a start of thinking about inequality with Israeli Arabs. But as far as the Palestinian and the occupation, it's not an issue. You know, it's not it's not on the table.
This is what they tell people, but it is a huge issue. And until we solve inside Israel the problem of between Jews and Palestinians, so they will be equal citizens with the Jews, and we stop the occupied militarily the Palestinians, we will live and pay high prices for spending so much on military, don't invest, we do not invest enough in hospitals, we do in social issues, in cultural issues. So it's you can think that it's not a problem, but it's not true.
No, I didn't say it's not a problem. I said it's not on the agenda now.
Yeah, this is because
not for me. I mean,
the government
see the reality.
Is saying, I hope Meretz will bring the issue,
the human rights movement,
the issue more to the table. But for us, it's and we think we are right, it's a major issue Israeli society has to deal with, and the Palestinians to live better life in this region.
Nava, what happened to those who grew up with you and are frustrated? Did they leave the country?
In our village, most of the people stayed.
So nobody
and
left.
Also, most of graduates of the School for Peace who came for a course or a workshop or a university course, many of them are active to change the situation. Always you can find few that left the country, but it's not the majority.
What's your observation about what happened in the mixed cities in the last, like few months ago?
I think in May, we had violence and uprising, and we were not surprised because the situation there is not good in the 7 mixed cities. In fact, we are training now the 6 schools for activists in mixed towns, because
mixed towns, it's between Israeli,
like Aker and Haifa and
Jews
Jaffa and Lod and Ramle.
Lod, Be'er Sheva, Nof Galil, and more. The situation is that they are very discriminated, a lot of racism and processes of gentrification of people to push them out from the towns and build.
In Jaffa.
You can see big real estates for wealthy Jews to come and live there. And what about the Palestinians who lived there for years? So there is a lot to do in mixed towns, and that's why we are conducting those courses for activists to give them tools to change the situation.
Tell us about your school, the school that you started.
It's not a regular school. It's called the School for Peace because this is what we are teaching, not in a regular way. In the 80s, we did many courses for teenagers, high school students who came for 3 residential days, workshops, 30 Jews, 30 Palestinians sitting in a room in a dialogue, talking about the conflict. But later we started to work in several universities. Today we are working in 6 academic institutions, courses for credit, in which enables the students who come to the university to have a decent dialogue about the conflict. They study in Tel Aviv, Hebrew, Haifa University, but they never have a chance to sit in a room 3 hours a week and to talk about the conflict. And we train also, the School for Peace bring together professional groups to learn how to be change agents. In each course, we give them the experience of in-depth dialogue between them in which they change. It's a formative change. People change their attitude and beliefs about this conflict. And then it's through dialogue with 2 facilitators in each small group done. And then they hear lectures that connect between their profession and the conflict, and to see how they can, through their profession, to create more peace and equality between the 2 sides.
When you mentioned that you used to do it with high school kids who came for 3 days, right? Came for 3 days, like an extended workshop. Mm-hmm. Was there parents who refused to let their kids come?
Very rarely. If they refused, that was okay. We don't force people.
No, I know, but I just wonder if there were parents who didn't even want their kids to come.
Very rarely. But
usually those schools, the communities are for that. So, but tell us, Nava, I know that you developed a special system, a special program.
Method,
method for the. Can you please tell us about it?
Yeah. We believe that the perceptions of people about the other, Jews about Arabs, Arabs about Jews, are very deep, very difficult to change. So we say the conflict is not between individuals. Individuals we manage pretty well together, but we say in order to deal with the conflict, this should be the center of dialogue. So we tell people that they are coming to talk about the conflict. Not only that we really tell them that part of the program will be together, and every several sessions we will have uninational meetings, the Arabs with the Arab facilitator, the Jews with the Jewish facilitator, to reflect upon and analyze and become aware to what is going on in the process. And we look at the asymmetry in power relations between the 2 groups, and we connect between what is going on in the room and the macro level. Like when Arabs, for example, are talking about talking Arabic in the room, and we tell them, okay, both languages you can use in the room. The Jews are very surprised because they are not used to such situation. And we tell them it's very similar when they are surprised or resent and who say, you are extremists, we came here to talk, why don't you talk Hebrew? that is very similar to what is going on in the parliament when there is an Arab member who is talking Arabic there. So people start to be very nervous and go out or shout. So the method is really bringing people to talk on the core issues of the conflict. And emotionally, it's not easy. People have to, sometimes they are sad, even cry, sometimes they are frustrated, sometimes they are angry, but we contain it all, and people feel they go through a process of mainly ignorance to knowing the other, and I told Tzili to expand their identity to include the other.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful method. And we tried it also with other conflicts that there is asymmetry in power relations, like Greek and Turkish Cypriots in Cyprus or in South Africa, or in LA Unified School District with Latino, Black, White, and Native Americans. And so we tried it also in other, even in gender issues, we tried the method.
Let me, okay, I know it's a bit a step to the side, but we can always come back. I don't know, do you belong also to feminist organizations?
We don't belong, but we
I speak about you now.
Me?
Yeah.
When there are issues, I participate here and there in a demonstration, but I don't belong, you know.
No, there are groups, but I wonder if you can extend. I mean,
the issue of gender is important for me. Yeah.
But gender can also help in conflict resolution in terms of let's get the women on both sides get together, for example, to fight against violence. Women.
Yeah, there are groups that are talking like that. Yeah.
Talking like this or doing?
Trying to do, you know, women wage peace. There are others that are combining both.
I'm sure that you have people from all kinds of organizations coming to your school, and then they take it to their organizations and they just roll it over. But what echoes do you get from all kinds of groups, whether it's Palestinians or Israelis, when they spread the knowledge that you give them, when they go back to their communities and they try to plant it? What echo do you hear?
It's not easy and simple, but they try to bring to their organizations the knowledge that they got, to become more listening to the other, to you cannot stand aside when you see injustice, so you act. People usually look for other movements and organizations they can join in their action and become active. Various ways. We know that thousands of our graduates today lead many of the peace and human rights, and also some feminist organizations in Israel and in Palestine. But we also decided to create some forums for our graduates, because we believe that belonging to a community that people think like yourself, it's very helping to you to deal when you have difficult situations in life experience. So you go to work and you hear racist comments. You have the guts to come and to stand and to say, we shouldn't speak like that. But when you come and meet other people who had who have similar experiences, and you plan projects and you belong to a group of planners that are for equality, or performing artists that do art through their work or whatever. So it's very empowering.
Do you also work with soldiers?
No,
they're allowed.
They don't come.
No, but did you try to bring to the village or to the school? You know, each party has I don't know what to call it, the young movement. She really could, like the Likud young.
We had, as I said, for 15 years, we do those change agent courses for different professional groups. So we had a big project with up and coming politicians.
Okay, from different parties?
Yes, and we recruited people from the right and from the left and from the middle, and they came.
What about Haredim? Are they acknowledging your existence even?
Very hard for them to participate because of keeping Shabbat.
But you can do it on the weekdays.
Yeah, but other people work in the weekday. So, but we had some traditional, even Haredi here and there in our end. We are welcoming. We try to accommodate. It's very important to reach those populations. We recruited Russian Jews, up and coming politicians who go to Lieberman and other party, even Likud party. We had people and Yesh Atid and others. We want to have impact on all, not on the people that are convinced, you know.
Nava, is there any holiday that you celebrate together in the village?
Oh, that's a good one. Really?
Or you created your own holiday?
We do share, like if there is a month of Ramadan, we have once a week iftar dinner with everybody brings their food and we celebrate together. Or we Yom Kippur, we do a discussion about looking backward and think what we did good and bad, and people come, Jews and Arabs, and they participate.
But the Nakba and the Independent Day.
So this is the one that is more difficult.
Right.
But it's like in the primary schools, they mention both narratives, both stories. The children from very young, they learn that there is no one story of history, there are two. And they may go to, they learn about how the Jews got independence, but they learn also about the Nakba, and they go to see a destroyed village nearby. And they learn to live with both realities, not only one. This is important.
Are you optimistic?
The three of us Israelis, there is no other way. We cannot fall deep into depression and think nothing will change. I'm optimistic in my personality, so I think acting all my life to train people, thousands of people, and you see a change in an individual, in a group that is moving from one step of denial to taking responsibility, you feel you saved the world by one person. But these are not one. We have trained until today 1,000 facilitators. Go and look where they work, in Givat Chaviva, in Hand, in
all over Israel, yeah.
All over. Right. And they do their work in the Negev, in the Galilee, in the center. So it's...
Well, here is another provocative question. What's the attitude of the school to mixed marriages? I'm sure they are young people, they have hormones, they may fall in love because they are together. Or
we have one mixed couple, not young, they're my age. We don't have a position. If people fell in love, they fell in love. It doesn't happen so much with the young generation. It's because it's a small community, so it's less, they go to look for spouses elsewhere. But if it happens, it happens. It's not a sin, you know. Love is beyond stronger than other things, and but it doesn't happen so much in our.
I don't think it's an issue there. The issue is the conflict, and whatever comes with it, they take it. I don't think they make a...
We don't believe that we should mix the identities. Each group is keeping their own identity, but respecting the other. It's very big. You don't have to marry the other in order to change.
I understand there was a fire.
Yes. A year ago.
Right, they found who did it?
It's arson. It's not just an accident. Police didn't find, but they found it's an arson because they found that they throw gasoline in and they burned our classrooms, and we are raising funds to rebuild them. They all were destroyed. It was a big shock in the middle of the night last year, a year ago in September.
That was the first time after so many years? I know it's a weird question.
It's interesting.
No, it's not weird. We had,
it is.
We had one hate act by Interzu, one of the right-wing groups who came in the middle. It was a few years ago. I have a nice story about it. It was a few years ago, and they cut the tires of 15 cars. And they sprayed on the gate of the primary school death to the Arabs. And we had a project across the border with Palestinians from Palestine, and in this project we had one participant who is a caricaturist, a Palestinian, and he heard about this hate act, and he came and draw with the kids cartoons on the wall where they spread the hate act, nice pictures. So it was a reverse situation when a Palestinian people coming to help an Israeli organization. So.
You know, I will do in short. I mean, like, I don't know when Coletta Vital was in the New York, she was a consulate. Yeah, there was a project we tried to do with Jews from here, from Brooklyn, and African American from Harlem, and then two groups from Israel, Jews and Arabs, and meet them together and try to do a conflict resolution. So like each will do it for the other. you know, not so like sometimes when you try to mediate, you know, you most learn about yourself, you know.
Yes.
It was not finished, unfortunately, but I thought, did you try? There is more and more lack of understanding what's happening here. I didn't tell you, I didn't have time to read it, but I brought myself, I brought with me today, there is a huge article in the New York Times today, like 2 pages, big ones, about the divisions in Israel. And it sounds like there is not much hope to be able to, you know, to solve so many conflicts at the same time. Especially now that it's between the Jews and then the Israeli Arabs and the Jews. And I thought to myself that looking at you and your school, that you are strong enough, I think, maybe, to also come forward with the other conflicts. But I know what you chose. I know your choice. And I know that this is what you chose to do, but there are not many who are successful.
I think what will save the democracy in Israel is how we treat the Palestinian minority. And I think dialogue between the two sides is helping also the other divides, because people see that if you can solve such burning huge issues by talking with each other, with professional facilitators, you can resolve also other issues. We see it also in our uninational sessions, in which they open also inside divides in the Israeli Jewish society.
Open what?
Inner conflict between the groups, the Ashkenazi and the Sephardic Jews, the right and left.
Yeah.
Just names them, and it's an opportunity to open those issues too. And also in the Palestinian, don't think all the Palestinians are united. They have their own conflict by themselves. So I think I really a big believer in dialogue, and dialogue that is built in a professional way, not just regular.
Not just communication.
We just have to cheer, really to cheer and to, I don't know, to clap and cheer and hug the fact that you are operating for so many years, and like, you know, you just go for it, and you go and you really raise a lot of people who at least, you know, came in touch with you guys and maybe had to face, you know, the issue, and maybe learn about what they can do to help a little.
But there is a common ground, because these are all people that they feel that there's no other way.
Yes.
So the common ground is very strong and powerful, and it's a platform for many good people to keep doing and keep growing. Sometimes, you know, that's why I asked you if you're optimistic, because sometimes I said there's no hope, there's no future, but what's the other option? You have to do, and then you have enough people maybe to collaborate and do and change something, or at least feel good about doing something and not just let it go.
Yeah. Listen,
I will tell you the story about the university courses.
Okay.
For years, we started in Tel Aviv University when Yaakov Trope was still there.
My husband.
And we did it for many years, like 30 years, and we kept trying to reach other institutions. Maximum we could reach was three universities, maybe Haifa, Tel Aviv, and Ben Gurion. This year, after what happened in May, I was doing this work. I approached more colleges and universities, and we have this year 8 courses running in those. So people understand the need that we have to do change in
Yes, it will not come by itself. It's almost like against human nature. The human nature is, I will take care of my own. I don't like you. You're not one of us. That's a great sentence. He's not one of us. And it will not come by itself. It's really takes.
But also people are tired and they don't want
they're
to.
Tired, you're right. Yeah, they're tired. And especially in Israel, it's not for us to talk about it, but I'm dealing now with the thought of the Israeli society. Arabs, Jews must be in a constant post-trauma stress. And how can you really diffuse all these questions? But it's fantastic about the universities. I know some of the people who, so it's also colleges, not just the big universities.
Open College, for example, Bezalel started.
Wow.
Political science in Hebrew University.
Wow.
2 courses in Ben Gurion, in psychology.
Ben Gurion is Beersheba University.
Yeah, very important there.
Education. So it's a good sign.
So your hands are full.
Yes.
Wow, really. That was really, although the conversation was not easy in many, but it was uplifting. I can't explain it. Although I'm asking those almost nasty questions sometimes.
No, it's not nasty, and it's very positive.
But
I'm looking forward
it's
to
really
work
positive.
with you between both centers, yours and mine. And I think we can do more.
Wonderful. Listen, thank you for coming. It was really an insight into a very unique and really important corner. Great. So thank you for coming, and thank everybody. And thank you, Tzili.
And thank you, Tzili. We'll see you next week.
Next week. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye. Thank you.